Good evening. Welcome to the Vortex Sarasota Show. I'm your host, George Lewis. I've got a super guest tonight. I have Matt Orr here with me. Matt was originally with The Hub, which is a very creative spot here in town for videos and just putting really creative projects together. And he's also really a man about town. He knows everybody here in Sarasota. And I've been looking forward to talking to him. Matt, glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much
for coming. What has it been? A couple of years that we met?
Yeah. It was actually we first met originally in the old space.
In the old space.
Yeah.
Well, what I was thinking about was the iPad. I have an iPad now, but you had just gotten it. You'd had one for a short
Oh, really?
period.
Yeah.
And yours was the first one I actually saw in action.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
They're so much fun.
Yeah. They're great, aren't they? Yeah. Well, and my sister's got the new iPhone, and that's just a smaller iPad.
Well, you know what's so sad about the iPad is I thought that it was going to change my life and be this wonderful work device, and really it's a glorified gaming device, and I watch a lot of stuff on it, so I don't get the work done that I need to.
It's actually better for viewing than anything.
Yeah.
Which is what I wanted it for, was to be able to test our videos to make sure that iPads could see it. But I found some really interesting kind of uses for it. One of them, they have a clapboard.
I know, I saw that.
I use that. That's quite a neat thing. So you've been how long have you been in Sarasota, man?
I've been here 10 years. It'll be 10 years in August.
And you came here from
Asheville, North Carolina, or a small town outside of Asheville called Burnsville.
How big's Burnsville?
Burnsville in this town was 1,700.
1,700 people.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that where you grew up?
That's where I grew up. Yeah, it was a great place to grow up, with a drugstore and a town square, and
drugstore with the stools and the soda bar.
Yeah, we went there and every day, and they actually had Orangeades, which was my drink of choice, I guess, and it was basically fresh oranges and sugar water. And my dad said the very first time, that's how he taught me how to drink out of a straw. He gave me a little drop of that, and then I was just, I knew suddenly, So we had that until it sold, the space sold and the drugstore closed, and I think a CVS came into town. Right. So it wasn't like chains or anything where I grew up. We grew our food. So it was
Did you really?
Yeah.
Canned it and the whole works?
Yeah, it was great. The community would all chip in, and everybody kind of grew their own thing. And my grandmother would can, and then it would be distributed, and it was
That's really cool.
It was a special place. Like in retrospect, it was I didn't know what I had growing up until it wasn't there. But it's nice to reflect and see that, and see the influence of how that affected people, and how I interact now with relationships and things, because relationships are important.
Oh, they're huge.
Yeah.
They're probably the most important thing. We make a lot of other things important, but they're just not. They come and go, all that stuff. So I want to talk about Burnsville for a minute. Compared to Sarasota, was that a Bible Belt?
Yes. But I'm going to say that it wasn't the Bible Belt as I've experienced it more recently. I think due largely in part to our political climate.
Oh wow!
It was a very respectful Bible Belt. Now, we weren't allowed to drink.
Right.
Certainly weren't allowed to dance. But but as far as the way people respected each other, it was not a religion that I understand now.
Right.
And I do believe that it's still very much that the way it was even now. Like when I go visit home. Growing up gay there, it was never an issue.
Is that right?
No.
Wow, that's amazing.
It wasn't that I was out either, and I've given it a lot of thought. I've wondered if it was so closed that people didn't even know what the context of that meant. Because we didn't have mass communication like we have now, or people just really respected other people. And being out now and very open about it, going home, it's not an issue to anyone there, and it really never has been. So I just think that it's a really welcoming, warm place of people who respect other people.
Well, I want you to know something. I admire you very much, and
Thank you.
For a lot of reasons. One is that you're openly gay. You're out there. This is who I am. Like me or don't like me, and you're one of the nicest men that I know.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, from what I see, is you're doing what you want to do, not what the world tries to tell us we need to do. You exercise that creative side of yourself, and I see it everywhere.
Yeah, that's that was, I think, another thing growing up. I think that it's funny that you said that because my family and I were talking about this over Christmas this year, and my parents were saying that they believed that our school system failed me, not because of the teachers or the quality of teachers or anything
Really?
there. It was more about like what the school system had access to as far as how you taught kids of that time.
Right.
And I think that then the only reason I passed, the only reason I got through school is because both of my parents are teachers, and nobody wanted to fail their friend's kid. I'm sure because I should have failed because I did poor in school. But I think that what I learned I had to do was exercise, some of those creative muscles that I was given because I couldn't succeed otherwise. Like I never made good grades. I never did homework. I never could pay attention. All I could do was talk and distract other kids. So
so it was either labor
right,
or creativity, right?
Yeah.
You're going
So
to
that
be
was
the coal
kinda where
mine
I-
up there somewhere and just north of you, right?
Right.
Right. Well, I'm kind of the same. I thought I was an entrepreneur because I was, pretty sharp. Turns out I'm just unemployable. If you get right down to the whole thing, it's like I don't want to be part of that anywhere. So, one of the things about that's so interesting about Sarasota to me is the spiritual community that's here and the wide, diverse spiritual community we have here. I mean, there's a huge Christian community here. We have some huge, big churches for a small town as we are. What really attracted you to Sarasota? I mean, how did you even find out about Sarasota? Were you family down here?
No, I didn't really know anybody down here. It was a lot of a finger on a map, and it was actually really interesting because
Really?
I came to visit a friend who lived in Venice, and I didn't like it at all. He took me from the airport straight to South Venice, and there was, 10 years ago especially, there was no real beautiful
Nothing.
anything on that drive.
No.
So I got down there. We had a fine time, and I remember we went to Key West, Orlando. I was trying to find where I was going to move next, over to Miami and Lauderdale. And on the way back, I got lost. I left early and got lost. And like where the split is at the Ford dealership at 301 and 41, I went on 301 and I thought I've missed something, and finally made my way over to down what I think was probably Oak.
Right.
And I saw all those historic homes, and I was like, well, nobody told me about this. And then it dumped me out, I'm guessing, in Burns Square.
Right.
And I thought, well, this is I didn't know that we had a downtown. And in Asheville, downtown was it. Like, everything is very localized. Everything is very, support your neighbor. And that downtown feeling was what I was looking for wherever I moved next.
Right.
And that's what I saw. Made my way over to the visitor center, and I remember I went in the wrong way, and somebody honked at me. And I walked in, and there was a Sarasota magazine, and then there was the film festival that just happened, and Jeff Probst was here
Right.
with Michael Stipe with REM had just been here, and I thought, well, there must be something that I'm missing. They just put the bricks there at 6th Street. And so I flew back to Charlotte, and then booked the next flight to come back because something was eating me to just get back here, and I moved within 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. And my family was like, what? You can't just go. So I, packed up everything and moved down. And
You think we're called to because that kind of what happened with me. It's very similar.
What you think?
Yeah.
I think so too. I felt that.
Yeah.
Everybody that I met along the path that brought me here, definitely, I can look back at conversations or very specific things that they did to kind of move me in that path.
Yeah, it's almost like we're guided
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
to that kind of thing if we're paying attention.
Yeah.
I moved to Fort Myers in '74, and I got there because my grandparents had been in Punta Gorda, and I didn't know much about Sarasota. But after I lived there for a while, they didn't have a freeway. Then I would drive up through Sarasota, and every time I would come through, I said, "Boy, I don't know why I didn't move here to begin with."
Yeah.
So it took me to '87 before I got here, but I love it here.
Yeah.
There's just something really unique about this city.
Yeah. Being in real estate, I would always kind of tell people like Sarasota is a great place to heal too. And I'm not sure how to explain that really, but it's people come here and they seem to. We all have problems. We bring our problems wherever we go.
Wherever I go, there I am.
But right, but then people get here, and then there's that ether that kind of surrounds you, people seem to heal very quickly here, and then be able to move into the new phase of their life. You know, where problems again occur and things happen. You don't get to stay in that ether forever, but they seem to achieve that quicker here.
Well, you know, that's a big reason for this show.
Oh, yeah?
Is exactly that. Yeah, because we have a huge healing community. And I didn't know, you know, back those years about Siesta Beach. You know, there's 40 acres of this powdery sand that's the most wonderful thing in the world.
Yeah.
I think it's, the top 2 or 3 beaches every year.
Yeah.
But more importantly, from the healing aspect you're talking about, Harvard, I forget which department, Harvard, Geological Department, tested the sand at Siesta. It's 99.9% crystal quartz.
Which is known to be a real healing.
It's a healing stone.
Yeah.
Not only a healing, but it also is, if you think about it, crystals used in, remember the old crystal radios you ever hear? You may not remember it.
No.
They used to make this little radio that was like a $5 deal, and there was a crystal in there that you were able to tune in through the crystal.
Really?
Oh yeah. So it has properties of transmission and healing and you know, when you look at the community down here, we've got Reiki people, we've got psychics, we've got, you know, you name it, and they're here.
Yeah.
We've got a big school here for massage and all that kind of thing.
And acupuncture.
Acupuncture. It's so it's quite a place spiritually and for healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you need healing when you came here?
I did. I guess we all do, no matter what. Whenever you're ready to make a new beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, it was just September 11th. It just happened, and it was just for me, it was just time to go into a new phase. I lived in the same place my whole life, and I knew that I wanted to experience something new, and it seemed safe. I knew that. I mean, at 24, I think is when actually I started coming down here. If I'd gone to Lauderdale, I'd have been dead now, I'm sure.
I totally understand that. Yeah.
And that was where I was looking, but this felt like a very safe place. And my mom, who, she's a worrier, as many moms are, but I give her like a special PhD in worry.
She's got it down.
Yeah, she knows how to do it. She can teach the class. She might be watching, sorry. And she even said, I think Sarasota would be a good place for you, you know, and to even have that blessing, I was like, well, I'll go on, yeah.
Especially did she know Sarasota?
No.
It sounds like she trusted you.
She trusted, I think so, I don't know.
Yeah,
she said go, that would be a really good move for you.
So how was your background spiritually? I mean, were you raised?
I was raised Southern Baptist.
Were you?
Yeah.
But you escaped?
Yeah.
Or are you still?
It was, no, I don't practice anything, but I was raised Southern Baptist, and I definitely respect the beliefs of other people. You know, don't harm people. And I think that with any organized, I don't like organized anything.
That's
to be honest
the problem
with you.
right there, yeah.
But that one, like I said before, it was a very respectful way of growing up, and it wasn't a condemning religion in the way that I was taught it.
Right.
And it still isn't. The church that, you know, my parents still belong to, they don't.
They're kind in that church.
They really are. It's a good place. It really is. It's a way people socialize. Like there's nothing else there. So
right.
It was you know, where a community gathered, and so. I
think you still find that even here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. People gather around what they are searching in, and but no, I don't participate with anything now. As far as spirituality is concerned, I don't know what that answer is, you know?
Right.
And so I don't really believe anything except in human relationships.
Right.
You know, I think that those are important and probably the most divine thing that you can get. And I'll tell you too, when my nephew was born, he's going to be 2 in April. So I called my grandmother right when he was born, the night he was born, and I was writing him a letter, you know, to say what life was like on the day he was born.
Right.
The oil spill had just happened that day.
Yeah.
And I called my grandmother, who's she's 95 now, so she was 93, and said, and she lives alone. Like, this woman has life figured out. She's really, she drives people food. She still drives. She does aerobics 3 days a week. She's really phenomenal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So she's into service.
Yes, and I
Huge.
asked her what it was that we should do. I was like, "What do you need him to know? Is there anything I need to let him know?" And she was just like, "It's just about relationships. And life is just about relationships."
That's
She just
pretty-
broke it down that simply, and I was like, "Anything else?" You know? She was like, "No."
Were you getting that from her before, or that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
She drives people to their doctor's appointments and makes bread twice a week for everybody, all of her sick friends. You know, she goes, she takes care of, she's 75-year-old friends of hers, 20 years younger than her, and she's there taking care of them. She's really amazing.
Well, I think there's basically two spiritual paths. I mean, there are a lot of belief systems within that framework.
Yeah.
The one is through service.
Yes.
High spiritual path. And the other is through real deep, intense meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we don't need to believe anything. If we get into service with other people, we're living a very spiritual life.
Yeah.
I'm with you on
Yeah.
that end of it. I don't have a problem either with religion, except the fact that it's organized. But it's such a paradox, because what you see is religion doing such good stuff for people, like you're talking about, and at the same time you see, that idea that ours is the only way, and we'll murder you or kill you if it's not.
Yeah.
And as long as that idea is alive and well, we're going to have we're suffering from the Crusades even now.
Yeah, people are. I think we all search for answers. We all want to know what this is all about.
Yep.
And it's with a human brain. I guess that's what we get. And so I think that service part is very true, and I see a lot of good things that come out of religion, and I also see a lot of bad things that come out of religion. I'm kind of like the John Lennon, I guess. Wish it didn't exist.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Lennon was a hero.
Yeah.
That kind of,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a prophet.
no question.
Yeah.
No question. Absolutely. I mean, if there's a man of God, it was John Lennon.
Yeah.
And he was shot by a man who thought himself as being a man of God. It's it's insane, complete insanity. So you're doing what? You've got a foodie. What is it? A foodie. What is the name of your? You have a food internet.
Well, I've got This Week in Sarasota is what I do, which is like a local blog about what's happening in town, and so that's one blog that I have. Another one that I do is I work with Florida Wine Fest, an auction, which is a 501c3 that raises money every year and gives to children's charities.
Oh, wow.
I really like that organization because they give to lots of different children's charities, but they only have one paid staff person. So everything that comes in goes back out to charity. So
That's great.
Good for them.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah, so they started a blog that I'm helping them with called Four Corner Foodies. And that's it's a food blog, and it's really cool because there's different people in different locations in the United States, and they are kind of on the rise in their food stardom. They're not quite famous, but just right there.
Right.
And they're all doing really interesting things in the food world, experimenting with new flavors. Or one of my favorite blogs is from Smog City Brewery, and that's a young couple.
Smog City Brewery.
Yeah, and they're out in L.A. And that microbrews are kind of taken off. Craft beer is taken off in L.A., which it had not before.
Right.
And they're kind of on the forefront of that, but they gave up everything to start this brewery, and they've won blue ribbons, and they're doing wonderful things, and it's kind of fun because they're blogging about their successes and their failures on Four Corner Foodies. So you're watching Lori, who is the mom, carry her son around, who's having to help her lug beer to all these restaurants, and he's 2. And of course, she doesn't want to be doing that with him, but she doesn't have time or the resources that day to have a babysitter just so she can make this delivery. So it's a lot of fun to read. So yeah, I am doing that right now too.
Was it just reading, or is it also like a vlog like you do? You do a lot of vlogging.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out
vlog.
YouTube, and I did a lot of vlogging, and there's a big vlogging community here.
Yeah.
And some of the most famous YouTubers are in Sarasota.
Is that right?
Yeah. Charles Trippy is one.
He's Sarasota boy. Huh?
Yeah, he grew up here, and his dad Chaz Trippy he plays in a band around, works for the Herald Tribune, and his daughter Melissa also does it.
Right.
There's another girl, Lorraine Stanek, who talks about jewelry locally. So there's a big community here of vloggers. So I was trying to figure it out, just to understand how social media works. Didn't take it real seriously, but I looked at some of them the other day. Seth and I were looking at them 2 nights ago and laughing at them because it was kind of fun, because it was kind of like recorded my life for about a year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and just randomly, little random things that happen throughout the year, which is
Well,
kind
I
of fun.
watched the first one that you made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I watched some of your later ones,
Yeah.
and I saw the trepidation in
Yeah.
the first one, so it was quite a nice progression to
Yeah.
come to where you were, because you're very comfortable doing it, or you appear.
Yeah. Well, yeah. At first, talking to a camera by yourself or talking to your iPhone.
Yeah, it's like, what? It's weird.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like you whip it out at a restaurant and with your friends who don't know that you're doing that, and you're like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. What's the deal here, right?
Yeah.
You weirdo.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
So it was fun though. I liked it.
So, do you sell advertising on your blog?
No, or on This Week in Sarasota, I
Yeah.
do. That is a media. It's
Right.
like strictly online media, and I do sell advertising on that.
Well, if you're out there and you're listening to our conversation tonight, I guarantee you'll get great exposure by contacting Matt. Matt just knows everybody around town. So give you a little
Thank
little
you.
plug for your yeah. We need to help each other.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think that's really important. We give each other a leg up. What caused you? How long were you in the real estate business?
I was there for 12 years, maybe. I'd started in North Carolina, and then I'd let my license go 3 years ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you worked real estate down here for a while?
Yeah, I worked at Michael Saunders, and it was funny because when I first started, I went to my manager, who I didn't know how. I was so cocky, I guess. I don't know how I did this, because I didn't know how to drive to the office that I worked in, and I was taught in North Carolina under this developer, and it was a very militant way of like coming to work and everything. So I guess I just looked very prepared when I
Right.
went into that office, because I was not, and I didn't know anything about the city. But he hired me, and I think it was because I was young, and they were not hiring young real estate agents at the time.
Right.
That was something new that they had just started to do. So I got on the very beginning of that, but I wanted to focus just on downtown. And I put 15,000 miles on my car in 3 years selling real estate.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I never drove. And if I could walk with my clients, I would, because it's just seemed more urban to me.
Yeah.
So we'd go look at condos downtown, and that was all I would focus on. And my manager said, why would you do that? Why downtown? Because I didn't know that people didn't really get into downtown here.
Didn't then. I think
No.
it's starting to change.
Oh yeah, now
Wow.
it's everybody loves it. People are trying to find houses downtown, and it's night and day different. I remember sitting at Epicure when I first moved here. We went to 2 places, the Alley Cat, remember that?
Yeah.
And then Epicure. And I would sit there at Epicure at night, on a Friday night, and read the paper and just think, what did I do? I've made a mistake.
How did I get here?
Yeah, but I had bought my place, so I couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
And I was for sure, the youngest person in the city at that time.
I believe that.
It was
I believe that.
and growing up, like, and Asheville was more of a college town, so just seeing that, I just thought, what am I do? What am I going to do next?
Yeah, where do we go from here?
But I remember being on the phone with my friend Shell at Siesta Key Beach, and she said, "Are you going to come back?" And I remember looking at the sand and looking at the water, and I was just like, I don't think so. Like,
Well, you're captivated.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
beautiful.
It's like you had to think about. I
Yeah.
think about leaving sometimes, and I'd like to spend some time up in North Carolina in
Yeah.
August.
Well, let me know when you want to go, and I'll definitely set you up.
I definitely will. My daughter's in the real estate business. She specializes in Siesta Key. I was talking with Chris Waters. You know Chris Waters? He's the son of Waters that built most of downtown, from what I understand.
Oh yeah? No, I don't. But
He was telling me about a thing they're trying to do down there called the Walkabout Sarasota. Are you familiar?
oh yeah. Oh, Gil Waters. Yes,
Gil Waters.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, that looked really beautiful. It's very ambitious.
Very, yeah.
But goodness, and the merchants don't seem to like it at all. Which I can understand. They went through the parking garage. They've had to do this meter thing,
Right.
Which they bagged those meters again. So the walkable downtown looked amazing because they could close it off and brick the streets and bring the cafe tables onto the street. You know, a very nice looking thing, but the merchants just don't want to do it. So, you know, you got to pay attention to that as well.
Well, it's too bad because it'd make it really kind of an outdoor mall, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be gorgeous.
Yeah, and we have that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, we're there with all the restaurants. I mean, we've had, 6 new restaurants open up downtown just this season?
Yeah.
And they're good restaurants. You know, it's not like, you know, these little fly-by-night things that might pop up, but they're really, really good.
Right.
So I'm excited about what's happening. I wish that we could do that walkable downtown, or the way that they want to do it.
Right.
I don't think it's going to happen though. And 2, even if the merchants did want to do it, I still think it's so ambitious that they probably couldn't pull it off.
Financially and in all ways,
Yeah.
it's ambitious.
Yeah, I read the paper that they were talking about laying off the city police, like where we wouldn't have a city police department anymore.
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
Right. I just can't imagine them spending that money on bricks.
Yeah, well, they're probably not now.
Yeah.
At this point, but you know, once that kind of an idea is in place, things happen.
Yeah.
You know, and even if you only get part of it.
Right.
You know, because downtown Sarasota, I'm with you. It intrigued me. I always felt there's something kind of magical at dusk down there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a really, really neat place to be. Yeah, matter of fact, I'm like everybody else who comes here. All my relatives, come on down, you know. This is the place to be. I went back I'm from up around Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
And I went back this spring, and it's like a war zone up there.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh, it's like, it's tough.
Is it coming back around?
If it is, it's at a snail's pace.
It is.
You know, some of General Motors is coming back, but
Yeah.
you know, I guess there are parts of Flint. They tried to do a project and a renovation downtown Flint, and they've just never been able to put that together. You know. I did read a thing about Detroit though that you know, down in the Detroit area, it's a disaster. It's like, I mean, everything is vacant there. And what's happened is young creatives are going in there, trying to taking over. That's very cool.
It is. There's a nice little surge, and I've been reading some blogs on that about how they're going in because you can get things for nothing.
Right.
And a lot of times people, I mean, in the work that I do, and kind of what you do too, it's, you know, you can do it from just about anywhere.
Absolutely.
And so you get to kind of choose where you want to be, so you can work.
Right.
Versus having a job move you to a place and then trying to find your home and like force life to happen.
Absolutely.
So I'm hearing a lot about Detroit and what's happening there from a technology standpoint and a creative standpoint, because they're really able to gut out warehouses and build beautiful spaces that, you know, I'm so envious that somebody gets to live in, but I wouldn't want to live in Detroit.
Well, matter of fact, I emailed my sister. I said, if there was anything that would attract me back to Michigan, it would be that kind of environment. Because I'm with you, to have a nice big warehouse that was like my place to live would be wonderful.
That would be so cool. I wish that we had that here.
Yeah, well, we probably will never see that, or at least we won't live long enough to see that, you know, that kind of thing. Well, I tell you what, it's been a quick half hour. I've totally enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. That means a lot.
Really good to see you again.
Thank you. You too.
And I hope to get to know you a lot better as we go along. If there's any way I can help you in what you're doing, all you have to do is give me a call.
Same here.
Sure,
we've got space that we could put this broadcast out on.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll talk at some point later. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our show as much as I have, and Matt's. You want to be sure and catch his blog. What's the name of your blog again?
This Week in Sarasota.
This Week in Sarasota. You also have an event calendar there?
Yeah, it's everything that's going on in town.
Hey, there you go. If you want to find out what you're going to do on Saturday night or Sunday morning, get on over to Matt's blog. Come back next week, same place, same station, same channel, same all that stuff, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, don't forget to accentuate the positive and have a fantastic week.